What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys. Well, if you take a look at the DEC supply, we are somehow once again over the 4.6 billion mark, and that's because we have printed a good amount of DEC over the past couple of weeks, and it is not due, unfortunately, to the SPS flywheel. It is due to the burning of a ton of reward cards. Now, yes, there was some SPS that was burned. Fantastic. I mean, it's a very small amount. Nothing to be excited about. But what was the real damage here? Well, we're just going to try and estimate, right? Because we know that we burn, on average, through market fees and just daily, daily usage, we burn about 1 million DEC. And so if you take a look at the 30-day here, the 30-day has been reduced down to 3.62 million, which means there's like a 27 million delta there. When you take a look at the 2-month, we're sitting at only 30 million. This should actually be 60 million if we were doing 1 million a day. And then, of course, 3 months, this should be close to 90 million. We're only at 66. So I would say we've burned cards and created anywhere between 25 to 30 million DEC in total over these last couple of weeks. And when you take a look at the amount of reward cards that were burned in order to do this, again, I'm just using rough numbers here based on what I've seen. We've burned about 1.5 million reward cards. Now, I could be wrong on that. Other people have been tracking at different times, but at least from when I was tracking, we were at like the 6 point something million, and now we're almost at 7.9. So you extrapolate this out, and let's just use the extreme. So let's say 1.5 million cards gets us about 30 million DEC. That means for every 1 million cards burned, we get 20 million DEC. And I know there's different burn values across the spectrum, right, across the different rarities. But my whole point is that when we now take a look at how many cards are still out there, you have to consider what the potential damage is. So for every 1 million cards we decide to burn, if that's 20 million DEC, without land, without rebellion, without a flywheel, without anything going on, if we're only burning 1 million DEC per day, and sometimes some days we're even struggling to do that, well, that adds 20 days on for us to get even closer to the flywheel, right? Every 20 million is like another 20 days. And so when you take a look here at how many reward cards there still are, I mean, in total, what's kind of crazy in terms of like the BCX, there's 92 million BCX still available. We've burned less than 8 million BCX. Now you're gonna look at this and say, yes, of course, this includes all of the reward cards that have ever been printed, and you're absolutely right. We can probably count out all of the previous like Untamed and Alpha Beta, but if you just take a look at where we're at from reward commons for Chaos Legion, these right here, right? Heatsmith, Pellicor Bandit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of these with over 7 million each, right? And we can easily, if we were to burn 7 million of that, that's another 42 million right there, right? And then just add in a couple more. Now, obviously, we're not going to be burning all of that. I think people still want to keep the cards, but there definitely is an excess of cards. And sure, some people might be holding it for land, but we know that there's a lot out there that can still come in and hit the market. And so when you do that kind of rough math of like, we can burn another 42 million, and for each of those million, that's another 20, right? Like we're talking very large numbers here that rival what we did during the Great Burning in terms of the amount of DEC that we got rid of. So I want to look at this again, not that I think it's going to happen in any dramatic or catastrophic way, but it is there. Right? This is a source of DEC inflation and something that we are going to reckon with. And to the team's credit now, with the Soulbound reward cards, we've kind of curbed this, right? This exists as a problem based on something that happened previously, but now with the reward cards coming up, hopefully that will actually be a DEC burn mechanism wherein in order to unlock them, in order to trade, it won't just be, it won't just be the burn value that you have to put into it. It might be double or triple the burn value that you can put into it. And therefore, right, those all of a sudden make DEC somewhat deflationary from a card expansion perspective. But then again, you also have the cards that you can buy, and you buy those and you can burn those if you really wanted to, if they ever get below the burn level. But let's hope Rebellion and even Chaos Legion cards, right now, the core set, Never go below that. So I just want to call this out as a potential risk. I mean, we know that there are large whale or bot accounts that have plenty of these cards that could decide if the player base isn't coming in and they want access to funds right now, this is the easiest way to do it. And we saw that happen right before the Rebellion presale started, right? There was about 30 million DEC that was created, about 1.5 million cards that were burned, and there's still millions of cards left to go. I mean, 40 million was just the old common cards. The higher up you go, I mean, there's still plenty of other ones out here. So, as we go along, I'm just calling this out as something that we should pay attention to, and I know there's people in the community that are doing that and highlighting it. So I appreciate you for continuing to bring it to all of our collective attention. I'm just trying to help amplify that signal here and say, well, here's the card oversupply. It either becomes a card oversupply or a DEC oversupply, right? And it's a one-way transaction. If they decide to burn the cards, then we just end up with more DEC, and that ultimately means the flywheel gets slowed down. So, there's no right way to do this outside of getting new players wanting to come in and buy up these cards because they need it for their collections, and also, right, using DEC or burning DEC on the SPS side of things, where it's just like, if we utilize all of it, then we start to burn SPS, and all of a sudden we get deflationary aspects on both sides. That is what getting new players coming into the game will do, and obviously I think we're all hopeful for that. But in the meantime, this remains a very big roadblock, in my opinion, that may not get triggered in the way that I'm kind of being alarmist about it now, but it's just something that's going to slow us down. I mean, we got below 4.6 billion a couple weeks ago, and boom, we're right back above it now, and we're burning less than $1 billion per day over the last 3 days, over the last week, right? So it's just slowed down the progress, and I know once land comes into the mix, it's going to change things. Once the Rebellion general sale starts, that could change things. But guess what? We don't know when land's coming, right? And we know when the general sale is starting for Rebellion, but it may not spark sales right away. People may be a little hesitant in the way that they're hesitant about the pre-sale right now, where we haven't sold out. It's still been successful, but it hasn't sold out. So obviously the capital is not rushing into the set. But that's a topic for another day. I'll go ahead and leave this video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you considered burning some cards, especially the ones that you have that are now that we're seeing DEC close to peg, and using that as an easy way to get access to DEC? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.